Good evening. I'd like to call the Board of Education business meeting to order. Roll call, please, Michelle.
Miller? Here. Sanchez? Here. Wong?
Present.
Charles?
Here.
Larson?
Here.
Jacobs? Here. Klett?
I think so. Yes, I'm here.
Okay, everyone is present. Is there an approval of tonight's agenda, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on the agenda? All in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? The agenda passes unanimously. And now we have a young man named Spencer, who is here from Robinson School, and he's going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Spencer, would you like to come up? Come on, come up here. And tell us, who is your teacher? Mrs. Wacholder. Wow. Do you enjoy school at Robinson? Good. Well, thank you for being here tonight. And thank you, Ms. Schroeder, and your mom and your grandma for all bringing you. We appreciate it. So would you like to look at the flag and say the Pledge of Allegiance with us, please? Always the highlight of the meeting. Thank you all for bringing him tonight. Okay, and now we have, announcements, and our newest board member, Ms. Stephanie Jacobs, is going to be reading them tonight. Thanks, Stephanie.
Okay, I was just told about this, the newbie. Okay. This is the season of giving, and the school district of Beloit has certainly been part of the giving lately. There were over 200 students who were invited to participate in Shop with a Hero. Men and women from the City of Beloit Police Department, City of Beloit Fire Department, and the Wisconsin Army National Guard were generous in donating their time as well in making this event happen. Social workers in our schools have been giving out coats, hats, mittens, etc. for students in need, and an anonymous citizen knitted several beautiful winter scarves and sewed pairs of mittens for our Merrill students as well. The Board of Education and District Administration want to thank everyone who contributes their time, energy, and donations to our students and community. Winter break is coming. Looking for something to do? There are hockey tournaments if you feel like traveling on December 27th, and a girls' basketball tournament right here at the high school on December 27th and the 28th. Upcoming events include the Revitalization Task Force meeting on Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. And as we approach the winter break, we want to wish our students, families, staff, and community a safe and happy holiday.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Jacobs. And tonight we're moving things around just a little bit because our student board rep, Cassandra Duran-Vasquez, has an orchestra performance tonight, right? So thanks for coming early and giving us your presentation.
Okie dokie. So this week, Student Senate alongside the Red Cross ran a blood drive this past Thursday, December 12th, during the school day, and around 110 students came to donate blood, which is a really great outcome. Today, Key Club went to Gaston Elementary School and donated tie blankets that they had made last week and did activities with the students such as painting, making crafts, and reading to the students, as well as helping the teachers with any activities that were going on for the day. The students were really appreciative for the Key Club members to come and join them and do activities with them, and the Key Club members were also very appreciative for all the students for being so kind. They really enjoyed their experience, and they were just glad to come and interact with the younger students and just be more involved with the younger generation of our students today. So that's all for today. I hope you have a safe, happy holidays, and I will be off to my orchestra concert.
Thank you very much. Enjoy. Okay. Now we have recognitions. Ms. Monica Christo.
Thank you, Pam. Tonight we are thanking and honoring two of our community partners and supporters who truly are making a difference in our district and with our students. So I'd like to have Jessica McCoy come up from Durham School Services. You know, Durham and Jessica have been such great supporters, you know, making sure that our students get to and from school safely. But along with that, they do school supply drives, clothing, so many things. And most recently, they put together 15 full Thanksgiving dinners for 15 of our neediest families within our district, and made sure they had a Thanksgiving celebration with their family. So I just want to thank her and Durham, and I know all of us do here, for their continued support of our district. Thank you so much, Jessica. Thank you. Our next recognition is to Mr. Rayo Ahmad. If you can come up, please. He's the owner of the ExxonMobil on 2883 Milwaukee Road here in Beloit. And he generously granted Fruzen Intermediate School a $500 grant for STEM programming. And the school was so thankful. They're going to be using it for science materials within the classrooms. And you had many organizations in which you could choose from to donate these funds. And we are very grateful and thankful, and so are our students and the school board, for him selecting Fruzen Intermediate. He's been very humble about this, so I wanted to make sure he came out and thanked him publicly for that grant. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. And we appreciate everything that community members bring to our district, so it's very nice to be able to recognize you tonight. Now we are at public comments. Do we have anyone tonight that would like to speak? Yes, we do. Okay. Then I'll read this announcement. Members of the audience, the Board of Education is now at the place on the agenda where we will receive public comments on areas of interest that are not on the agenda. The Board of Education will generally not respond or act on items that are not on tonight's agenda. Appropriate items will be referred to administration or one of the board's committees. While the board and district welcome public comments, we as a board also must ask that you exercise care in your comments that relate specifically to district employees, students, or other persons connected with the school system. In order to protect the rights of these individuals, the board will and comment on such topics. The use of specific names of district personnel may lead to legal liability on the part of the speaker. The board has existing procedures in place to address legitimate complaints against staff members and persons related to the system. The Board of Education asks that each person wishing to address the board has completed a citizen comment card and given it to the board secretary prior to the start of the meeting. Individuals will come to the podium as they are called and give their name and address before speaking on their topic. Each person will be given up to 3 minutes to speak. Public comments requiring translation will be given 6 minutes. So are there persons who would wish to speak at this time? If so, please come to the podium.
I have 3 who are wishing to speak. They are all on non-agenda items.
Okay, then I'm sorry, I apologize. You can come one at a time as you're called. I thought there was just one.
Nope, there's 3.
So as we're called?
So, what's your name?
Willie Trammell.
Okay, Willie Trammell is the first one that I have.
Good evening.
Good evening. I graduated from Beloit Memorial in 2008. When I graduated from the high school, our school board received their grading staff of all D's and F's when I graduated that year. And since I graduated, it's kind of hard to go back from D's and F's, but it seems as if now that I have children in the school district, my children are receiving less than what I received. And I do believe that I wasn't fully prepared to go to college from the education I received at Beloit Memorial High School. We had great kid his last name is Benton. He's a University of Wisconsin Badgers player now. He's probably going to go in the top 5 in the draft when he goes to the NFL. And he has family all around in Beloit. He's connected to Beloit, but he graduated from Janesville Craig. And I just think it's something that we need to address in our school district about bettering our students and our staff to be able to make it so the kids are prepared to succeed at the next level, and that, you know, we don't have kids leaving our school district because our school district is preparing them to further their education and do good in life.
Thank you.
Next, I have Ladondra Gonzalez.
Hello, my name is Ladondra Gonzalez, and I reside at 2629 East Hill Road in Beloit, Wisconsin. I'm here to talk today about the Cunningham Intermediate Engagement with an International Study Abroad program with China. The former administration had allowed this program, and the students, along with the teachers at Cunningham Elementary, learned a lot about the culture in China, along with the teachers and the students that came from China learned a lot about our educational success. During this time, I have recently learned that the founder of Attitudinal, I can't remember the whole name, but it's the founder of the program had been contacting the administration wanting to present a plaque to Cunningham for hosting for the past year. During that time, he was told that he could not present anything and that he was basically wasting the superintendent's time. So my question to the board is, how can we continue to engage in the International Study Abroad program with China, and if you would be willing to accept this plaque on behalf of Cunningham so that they can at least get the recognition that they deserve? Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else, Michelle?
I have David Ramirez.
David Ramirez, 2112 Roosevelt Avenue, Beloit, Wisconsin. Hello, everybody. My subject that I put on my paper was school system, pretty much in general. This is my second meeting. I came to the first one. The last one, there's 27 kids being honored for a whole bunch of stuff. That's why I'm here again. I came by myself last time. I got 3 more people with me today. I was going to write something so I wouldn't get emotional, but I probably am. The whole school system thing hits different when it hits home, and it hit my household. So in the community, there's a movement right now that's starting a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of names involved. And none of that can come up because you read it in the beginning why. But just so you know, there's community people right now, pastors, lawyers, doctors, a whole bunch of different kind of people that live in the community that actually care. And there's something that's going to snowball into something really big. So if you're on the right side for these kids, thank you for what you're doing. If you're not, pack your bags and get the hell out of here, please. Thank you.
Okay, Michelle, is that it? Yes. All right, thank you. Thank you all for sharing your comments with us this evening. Right, next is Superintendent's report to the board.
Good evening. The Business Advisory Council convened its first meeting on Thursday, October 10th. The purpose of this Business Advisory Council is to share the vision, goals, and objectives of the School District of Beloit, solicit best practices and input from the business community, communicate and receive feedback on district initiatives, create working partnerships between the business community and the School District of Beloit. I appreciate their willingness to give of their time and share their expertise and business acumen with our district. They bring to the table a wealth of experience and knowledge, and their partnership and collaboration with the district is paramount to the successful future of our school district. This diverse group of business leaders will meet on a quarterly basis. Our next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, January 15th. The Superintendent's Student Advisory Council is made up of the 16 members of the Student Supervisory Council were selected and recommended by the faculty of the Beloit Memorial High School. They were chosen because of their demonstrated leadership skills among their peers. The Superintendent's Student Advisory Council will allow for students to have a voice and share opinions on a variety of topics, including academics, curriculum, student support services, school culture, career readiness, extracurriculars, sports, and the arts. Working with other advisory members, their goal will be to create positive recommendations and solutions that will benefit the school district of Beloit. The priorities of the Superintendent Student Advisory Council include the following: fostering open communication between Beloit Memorial High School students and the superintendent's office, acting as a liaison between the superintendent and the students of Beloit Memorial High School, maintaining a broad understanding of the district's initiatives and school-related activities, acting as ambassadors for the school district of Beloit. This forum will allow these students to sharpen their leadership skills, strengthen their communication and presentation skills, and foster collaboration and team building with peers. The Student Advisory Council will meet 4 times during the school year, and each member can serve up to 2 years. Our first meeting convened on Wednesday, November 20th. The next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, January 15th. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Monroe. Now we're going to go on to reports from our committees, and the first one is our Planning and Budget Committee. Mr. Wong chairs.
All right. Okay, the Planning and Budget Committee met on what day do we meet? December 3rd, Tuesday, December 3rd. We started out talking about the legal fees and expenses. We had a full breakdown of items that were actually the history of that, the legal expenses that the district has incurred over the last 2 to 3 or 4 years. We requested information. We're exploring options as far as whether we hire somebody to be inside or we just continue the way we're going right now. I think we're all very conscious of the legal, obviously doing things in an appropriate manner, but we want to make sure we're not spending money that is unnecessarily. Second item we discussed was hiring a grant writer for the district. This discussion has been brought up by several board members. And the thoughts behind this is that perhaps we're missing out on grant opportunities that are available to us, and hopefully if we have the right person in place, they could not only pay for their own position, but also bring in hopefully hundreds of thousands of dollars in programs that could help all of our schools. We talked about the next area was translation of policies into Spanish. That's something that we're looking into. It's not as easy as just translating it. It's a matter of interpretation as well. So we want to make sure that we're doing things in an appropriate manner in that area. That'll eventually hopefully come to the committee, back to the committee in the near future. The next area was administration, how they're connecting with various community partners. And Monica Christopa gave a great presentation on the connection and provided some great material, which I think has actually since then been added to the website. So we appreciate the work that's been done on that. I think that we all need to be conscious of what we are doing within the community and can continue to connect it so we're not duplicating services. And then the last thing that we covered was the current status of ALE, Alternative Learning Education Programs, throughout the district and the plans under the reconfiguration. Let's see, that is in full swing right now. We're looking at the various programs we're providing, and Ms. Mellencamp provided us a breakdown of what is being done throughout the district. That closed out our meeting. Our next meeting will be on Tuesday, January 7th of 2020.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Wong. And now we have the Oversight and Finance Committee chaired by Mr. Larson.
The Oversight and Finance Committee met on Tuesday, December 10th for a very long, collaborative, and productive meeting. The committee discussed the climate survey that Shirk Consulting will be administrating. Tracy Shirk was concerned with that the professional educator survey was too long. Administration and Tracy will work together to condense the survey, and the survey will be for all levels of district employees. District staff will receive an email from Shirk Consulting and may also receive text messages as follow-ups. The questions will be finalized at the January 7th meeting, with the surveys going out mid to late January. BEA representatives provided feedback on school discipline. 4 representatives attended and spoke, representing all school levels. Specifically, the board directed the committee to inquire about a directive from district administration to staff members to not engage students who are not following rules. BEA indicated that they were unaware of any directive, and the committee also asked whether or not they perceived discipline to have improved. They felt that overall discipline had improved in the buildings they represented since last year. The board also directed the committee to ask about the Educator rating system. BEA reported that many conversations have been had, and there are still many teachers concerned with the rating system. Ms. Gex and Ms. Pels presented the goals identified in their study improvement plans for BMHS and BLA. They also shared the processes they went through with their staff to create the plans, and just as well as the elementary levels, there was a lot of excitement around the plans. We look forward to receiving updates on the goals and plans as data is collected. The committee recommended the purchase of 2 pilots for English language arts, which we'll hear more about later. The pilot will be conducted this year with a recommendation for program adoption coming later this year, and the cost of the 2 programs together is just under $80,000. Ms. Mellencamp informed the committee that the days of free pilot materials are long gone. The committee also recommended the approval of the financial statements for October, and we also received a wonderful update and walkthrough of the School District of Beloit website. If you haven't been there recently, go back, kind of explore, check it out. You can always call if you need help finding something. There's even a tab for the task force on there where you're able to ask questions about plans or any materials on the task force that's going on there. Our next meeting will be January 7th, and we haven't finalized the time yet, but it will be posted.
And you're meeting a week early. You might want to.
Yes, yeah, we usually meet the second Tuesday, but in order to accommodate the climate survey, we're meeting on the first week rather than the second.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Larson. All right, I'll get the report on the governance committee. We met on December 10th, and we had a discussion that's kind of probably going to be at every meeting for a few months, because we're getting used to the new committee structure. We have new administrators, we have new board members. So we started off the discussion reviewing our roles and our duties and reviewing the agendas for this month to see if we have items placed where they should be. So we have 3 committees, and we're trying to be sure that we have on each agenda, every item there is appropriate for that agenda, whether it's a committee or a full board. So I think we're finding that we're doing a lot better at this now after a few months of this committee structure. And we definitely had everything plugged in where it should be on the committees and the full board agendas. We went, that led into the administrator guidelines for agenda item placement, where we're going to basically be communicating better with administrators and making suggestions and coaching on where things should come to the board through which committee and which agenda. We talked about our committee media relations. We want to make sure that we do have our committee chairs communicating well with reporters and, making sure that everything that goes on in our committee gets out appropriately to the public. So we will be sure that the chairs, take calls as necessary to communicate what's going on in our committees. We discussed policy committee, because we just adopted this structure, but it seems like our policy committee, which is a committee of the whole, meaning all 7 board members meet to bring new policies or policy revisions to the board. So we do that as 7 board members, which is basically the full board. And I don't know if it's time to change it already after just a couple months, but it was requested that we look at that, and we had a discussion about possibly some better ways we might be able to do that. I don't think we came to any solid decisions on that at this point, though. We're going to continue talking about whether we should leave it as is or form a fourth committee, which would be a policy committee, or have a working group of three, maybe, administrators and board members that develop policies for first readings and then bring them to the full committee. It just seems a little bit clumsy the way it is, but we're going to keep working with it and keep that discussion going and see where it goes. We also had personnel recommendations discussion, and at this point, we are going to leave the personnel recommendations as they are, which is the full board discusses personnel recommendations in closed session just to see if there's any questions anyone has, and then we always vote on the recommendations in open session. And then we had a board member request to discuss a listening session. This came to the full board, and we weren't sure if it was a good idea to continue having we have a board goal that we'll have 2 listening sessions each year. We weren't sure if we want to continue with that or if we would prefer to not have listening sessions at all. It came to our committee, we discussed it, and Ms. Miller actually was very interested in getting the next one up and going. And the compromise we came up with was that we will have the listening sessions. We'll keep the goal of 2 listening sessions a year, and we will have 3 board members present at the listening sessions. So Ms. Miller's going to be talking about that later tonight, the first one, and I'm happy that this is the way we're going to do it, because I do think that, like tonight, we had some individuals here that would definitely like to be heard on some concerns, and that's what these will be for. They could be one topic, they could be general, but we will have 2 between now and the end of the school year. And there will be 3 board members, and they'll be in a public place, so everyone is welcome to come and talk. Okay? All right, and then that's basically what we discussed in our meeting, and we will meet again on January 14th, which is the 2nd Tuesday of January. All right. Now, we are down to the next agenda item, which is the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
I move approval of the consent agenda.
Thank you, Kyle. Is there a second? All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the consent agenda? Okay, all in favor of approval of the items on the consent agenda, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. All right, the consent agenda passes unanimously. We have a purchase over $25,000 for a pilot ELA program, and this did come to committee already. Actually, I'd like to ask Mr. Larson, it came to your committee, true? Could you just give us a quick?
Sure. So it's in the cycle of curriculum. The ELA is up for adoption, and administration had identified 2 programs, Fontes Pinnell, as well as ARC Core, to pilot for this year, and then recommend a purchase possibly for the following school year. Knowing that no one curriculum fills all the holes and provides everything, they would continue to use some pieces of curriculum that they're using now to help fill in some gaps. They did say that this year the pilot would be, all of the teachers would be using both programs. Were usually in a pilot, one group of teachers will use one program, another one will use a different one, and then they kind of have to battle it out without really understanding the other program. The money for these pilots has been budgeted and will come out of curriculum. And again, we're not used to seeing especially large amounts of dollars going to pilot programs, but companies are no longer providing free pilot materials. And so the committee recommended unanimously to send this to the board and recommends that the board would approve this. So having said that, I would like to move to approve the purchase of Fontes Pinnell Classroom ELA pilot materials in the amount of $46,267.66, and the approval of the purchase of the American Reading Company Core ELA pilot materials in the amount of $34,450.
Okay, is there a second to the motion? I second. Okay, so this was studied by committee, and it's recommended to the board. And there's a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Okay. All in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Larson. And now we have Ms. Miller, the listening session planning.
Hi, good evening. So I would like to propose a Public Board of Education listening session for Sunday, January 19th from 2 to 4. I'm open to suggestion on this, by the way, but I just thought maybe at the Colac Center. The purpose of this session, as Ms. Charles was saying, would be to be for community members to have an opportunity to speak to board members, but we would not take any board action, as this would not be a meeting, bless you. It would still be publicly noticed, however, and subject to open meetings laws. People from the community would be able to ask questions, share thoughts, ideas, and concerns. The outcome of these interactions could be then that the three non-quorum board members in attendance could take these ideas back for recommendations for future agenda items. We had like an ad hoc committee in the past develop out of a listening session, or other formal board action could be taken at a later date at a board meeting. And I'd also like to take that opportunity then to show people how to find current policies, meeting agendas, and board docs, and then just address any other accessibility issues. So that's the gist of it.
Thank you. So that'll be Sunday, January 19th at what time?
From 2 to 4. There's a conflict. There's a really cool event also going on at the Welty Center that day, but you know, you do a little bit of both maybe.
Okay. So then we will need 2 other board members to attend the listening session. Are there any volunteers that would like to? Mr.
I would be
Larson?
happy to.
Okay. Anyone else? All right. We'll get another person then. We can all check our calendars and see. I'd be interested if my calendar's open too.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for taking the lead on that, Ms. Miller. All right. And now we have future board meeting dates. Oh. Pardon? Okay, so our next, we have committee meetings on the 7th and the 14th. We have a regular board meeting on January 14th, and we have our January business meeting on January 28th. All right, how about future agenda items? Is there anything, Ms. Miller?
Hi, yeah, I actually wrote some things down because I want to make sure there's context for the proposal of this future agenda item. So I would like a discussion on the proposed Beloit 200 Charter School and an invitation to Beloit 200 to join us for this discussion. I attended the Beloit 200 Charter School Forum on Saturday at the Beloit Public Library, and they claim to have attempted to work with the district. They have never come to the full board to have a discussion about working with us as an instrumentality charter, which means that all public dollars for public school would stay within our public schools, and they would still have total control over their operations and pedagogy. So I would like to call them to come and speak to us so we can work together to both strengthen the district and provide more choices for all students instead of some students. That's my recommendation.
Okay, we'll look at adding that. And anyone else? Mr. Klatt?
This might be a committee thing first, Pam, but I really think there's still confusion in the community and within the school system on discipline and how we're handling it. It doesn't seem to be consistently handled across the board when I talk to the community. And it's something that drives me, and it's been an issue that has nagged this district for years and years and years. And really, we need to be the board that takes control of this, because our classrooms are for students to learn. And if it's disrupted, it's not our job to make it all right for the disruptor. It's our job to make sure those that want to learn. We can try to help the disruptor find their way, but not at the expense of our students that aren't be able to learn because we allow bad behavior. So I don't know if that's a committee decision first, but I'd like to have the administration bring forward from each school the suspension reports, the discipline reports, referrals, and I'd also like to find out, when we do alternative versus expulsion, what's the results of those alternative placements that we heard about tonight? Are they actually working, or is it just some way to just kind of put it aside and not take accountability for that? So this isn't an issue that just popped up this year. It's something we've been fighting for years, but I think it's time to stop.
Well, and you're absolutely right, and I would like to add that I would like our attorney that does the expulsion or the administrative hearings to be part of that discussion, because I think he'll be able to contribute quite a bit to it. And I think, Mr. Larson, this would go to your committee. You agree?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe you can add it to the next committee agenda if it's not full, because it is something that we're trying to address consistently, and we don't want to let it go any longer than we have to. So I'd appreciate if you could add that to your next one. Are there any other topics anyone has? Okay, I have one that kind of plays into the same thing, Jeff, but I would like to have a presentation to the board on our mental health providers, our mental health delivery to our students. It's been a while since we approved some MOUs for mental health providers. I'd like to know how those arrangements are working out, how those relationships are going, and how we're serving the kids. For instance, what if we have a child who has a mental health provider in the community, and that provider would like to come into our school to meet with the child? Are we allowing that? Are we not? Is there something we need to look at in policy? Is there something we need to look at with our MOUs? But I do want to see that kids are getting what they need, because once they leave the building, they can't always get the help that they need once they get home because of various issues. So we have 3 actually really important things that came up here tonight, so we can address those in upcoming agendas on committees and full board. I think the mental health one, gee, Kyle. Maybe it would also come to yours,
Yeah, I think so.
if that's okay.
Not on the 7th.
You might need to have, well, you're having 2 meetings, aren't you? I thought you were going to have one on the 7th and another one on the 14th.
Nope, we are only going to have one we are planning on only having one on the 7th, but I can work with Dr. Monroe and administration to see how much time is needed to prepare the information, and if not in January, then at our meeting in February.
Okay, or maybe you can talk about it with,
Yeah.
maybe it could go to yours, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's something I don't want to have wait too long, yeah.
That's fine. Can make room for it.
Okay, thank you, and I think that concludes our agenda tonight. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor of adjourning, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we're adjourned, thank you.